do that again. Boom, clap. The clap is back. No, wait, hang on. No,
You can't say
no,
that.
no, hang on. No, we'll
Yeah.
keep it in. It's fine. It's fine. It is fine. Guys, welcome to another special interview. Do you know what? I'm not even going to introduce her because last night on the Nathan Rooney interview, she forgot to introduce her co-host. So instead, I'm just going to go straight into it. We're joined by current Doncaster player on loan from Wrexham. We're joined by Billy Waters. Billy, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I wish I weren't doing this alone. I'm like, oh, hi, Hannah. Hannah's here. Welcome, Hannah, as well. Hey, how are
Thank
doing?
you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm
It's
good, thanks.
good. It's good. It's cold out, so I'm nice and toasty in my mum's box room, as they call it on Twitter, but it's not. So we're going to just have a little bit of a chat about your career, really, about where you've been, where you're going, what you're doing now. Obviously, there's two stories to your season, two clubs that are kind of at the polar opposites when it comes to how they're running and how they're operating, and we want to know a bit about both of them. So. Should we just jump straight in and just do it?
Let's go for it. Yeah.
I'm excited. Me. So I'm sorry. I've randomly. We were talking about where you lived. I've got a map of your hometown up on my screen, so I was just looking at where it was. I've heard of it, but I didn't know where it was. But I know now. But we will go into that. First and foremost, whenever I meet someone called Billy, the real name's William.
Right.
Yours ain't, is it?
It is not. No.
And I was amazed by this because I actually think you've got a really unique name, but it just wasn't what I expected. So you are,
Yeah.
you are Billy by name, as in like that's what everyone calls you. But what's your full name? Oh, I think we may have lost him. Are we back? Can you hear me? He's gone. We'll start again when he comes back, Hannah.
Wait, is his first name that bad? Like that this is it's that bad that he doesn't want to admit to it, so he's just ended the interview.
I hope not. It's on Wikipedia.
I missed that. Let me go and have a look.
No, don't. Hannah, this is all
Alright.
going in the podcast. I'm not editing this out, by the way.
No,
Guys,
it's fine.
Billy Waters will be back.
This is also what flavour have you got?
Cookie dough.
Oh, nice, classic.
Give me that
Yeah,
salmonella.
I like it.
Yeah, he's back. He's back.
I'm so sorry.
Listen, we're not even editing that out because we went into a conversation about cookie dough or Ben and Jerry's. So
nice.
We're professional here.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, sorry, my girlfriend started FaceTiming me and it just completely froze me out.
So. Give her the link. Give her the link. Get her on it.
Get her in, yeah.
We had one episode where it was just me and Hannah, and I disconnected halfway through, and Hannah had to carry on the conversation while my entire computer rebooted.
Yeah, good.
But Hannah, when I asked you that question and then it disconnected, I asked what what your full name was, and you disconnected. Hannah was like, "Is it that bad? Like he's just ended it." I was like, "I hope not. It's on Wikipedia."
Yeah, no, it's a bit mad because my actual name is Bill. It's not even Billy.
That's awesome. It's such an old man's name.
It is, yeah. Because my grandpa was William Joe Thomas. So he was known as Billy Joe, and obviously, so my mum wanted to call me after him, but then called me Bill. So I was like, well, why did you never just call me Billy? And then it was because she liked Bill Henry. And then Penna, my other name, that was my other granddad's middle name. So yeah, bit of a cocktail for a name, to be honest.
It is. Where's my pen? So can I just have your mother's maiden name and the last 3 digits on the back of your card and the street you grew up on as well? Because we're going through. I've got a lot of information here. Guys, we'll sell the data online later. We'll do a little auction. But yeah, it was just I expected to see William. Didn't obviously.
Yeah.
But,
or even Billy. Like lots of kids, I've got 10-year-old twins, and a lot of parents have used shorter versions because they don't ever want their kid to be called Matilda, so they're Tilly or whatever.
Yeah,
that makes sense. But
yeah. So yeah,
I'm big with. Obviously, I've got children, and I struggle with names because they sound great when they're a baby, but then you think, right, how are they going to do as a
as an adult with that
an
name.
adult. Yeah, and it's like people Primrose. I mean, I'm no offense to anyone called Primrose, but I'm like, if there's a kid called that, it's like, oh, it's a little girl. And then it's like, oh, 23 years old going for a job interview, and I'm like, oh no, Hannah sat there because she knows a Primrose. I'm guessing.
No, I don't actually.
So, but yeah,
Amazingly.
we've just lost the Primrose audience, by the way, straight off the bat.
That's it.
They're never coming
Great,
back.
they're gone.
Yeah.
Well, look, let's jump in. So
Yeah.
I'm looking here. So your career, it has you down as coming up through Cruise Academy, but we look at the years that it says that you were there, and I'm guessing you were there a lot longer before that because it has you down at Crew for only 2 years, 2013, 2015. But I'm guessing that's your full career time, isn't it? That's when you've become a pro. When did
Yeah.
you join Crew? How old were you?
So I was 10. Was I 10 or was I a bit older? Basically, we used to live down in Silverstone, in Northamptonshire. So I was at Northampton Centre of Excellence, and then my dad's work just took us up north to Nantwich. So my dad just got in touch with Crew and just said, look, we've had to move up here. My son was at Northampton. He wasn't released, but, my work's taken us up here. Will you give him a trial? So Crew were like, yeah, of course. Went and did the trial. Didn't get in. So I went to Stoke. So my dad did the same thing with Stoke, basically. And to be honest with you, I didn't really want to do it because I just moved up, and moving up at that age is tough anyway.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it. I think my dad felt so bad because he'd taken me away from a club that I loved in Northampton at that age. So I went to Stoke and I loved it. They signed me, and I think I was there for about a year, and we played Crew in an academy game, and I think we beat them like 6-2, I think, and I scored 2 because I used to play centre mid back then.
Right.
And then Crew basically approached my mum and dad and said, like, we want him back. So I ended up going back, and so I was probably there from about the age of 11 till 20.
Wow. And the thing is as well, that time was when Cruise Academy was like the academy, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
that was
Well, that was the thing again, because then Crew came in for me, and obviously I was 11 and I loved it at Stoke. Like, I loved it at Stoke. And then, but with the distance, I mean, it was only probably half an hour from where we lived, but Crew's training ground was, because they train in Nantwich pretty much, it was 5 minutes from mum and dad's. So I'm thinking about that. And also my dad said the reputation of Crew's Academy is, incredible. So, went for it, and the rest is history.
So would you say you're a Northampton fan? Is that who you support? Do you have
No.
a team you support, or do you?
Yeah, I'm a Man United fan.
Right.
Yeah, I think I got bought a kit when I was about 6 years old, and that was that.
I mean, to be fair, we can relate to Man United, Hannah, because they, as it stands this last few years, they play like a League Two side. So we can kind of, we understand what their fans feel, and we know it's the raw passion of it.
Yeah.
So just randomly bought a Man United kit, and it's just stuck.
I think so, yeah. I think I like Beckham, so I got bought a kit, and then my dad took me to Old Trafford and did a stadium tour for my birthday, and from then on, I was just hooked.
So I was the same. Like, I obviously grew up a Bradford fan, had Bradford players, but David Beckham was like, there was no comparison.
It's just golden money.
Yeah,
he still is.
Yeah, genuinely, he still is. Like, I watched the documentary that it was on Netflix, and like just
so good,
still in awe of him.
Yeah.
It's like he's not kicked a ball in
Well, this is
7,
the
8
thing.
years.
Charlotte watched it at the airport when we were delayed, and she was. Charlotte plays football, and she was absolutely incredulous about this man that she'd never seen play football before. She's like, "Mum, he's amazing!"
No, it just is.
Yeah, he's just a cool guy.
My David Beckham story's not as heartwarming as yours, because I also did the Old Trafford tour on the day he left.
Oh no!
I didn't know we were at Old Trafford when it was announced, and it came on all screens. But like, obviously, being quite young, and we were on a school trip, and like being quite young, it was like, I wonder if any players will be there. And like in my back of my mind, I'm going, oh, I wonder if Beckham will be there. Like, Imagine if I got like slight chance. Knew it was never going to happen, but just imagine if. But and then it came up on the screens, and it was just like, he's gone, like right in front of me.
We were there the day that Ronaldo announced that he was leaving, so maybe we should stay away from Old Trafford stadium tours.
Which time was that? First or second time?
No, the second, because I took some Americans, and Charlotte's there wearing a county shirt. Like, I've got a picture of her in Old Trafford, like giggling because she's
I witnessed his last game, Ronaldo's at Old Trafford.
Really?
Yeah, which was funny. It was West Ham at home, I think, last season. No, it'd be last
I think
season.
it would have been November. I think
Yeah,
the Americans were over, so it would have been around them.
Yeah, it was the day after we lost to. Oh, sorry, did we lose? Yeah, we lost to Crawley at home, and I went with Crawley's owners to Old Trafford. So it was so hard to sit and just when the people who own the club that's just beat you the day before are like celebrating and having a right good time, and I'm sat there like, I don't support Man United. I'm here because it's free. I'm actually quite happy that I'm in the director's box, and like I had Brian Robson, Gary Pallister in there, and I'm like, that's great. And then Tyrone from Coronation Street, he was there as well.
Oh no,
levels. So
Tyrone, good guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's, to be fair, bit of a not my cup of tea. He weren't really too friendly.
Good mechanic though, to be fair to him.
Yeah, I've heard. Can't get on the street; it's always booked. Try. Going back to it then, because we're here for a reason. But we've gone all around houses here with Ben and Jerry's, a disconnect. Man United, Ronaldo, it's great. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
So you're at Crewe. You're there from a young age. Is there anyone that's at Crewe at that time that sort of has gone on and become like quite well known in the game and has done really well for themselves? Is there anyone that really stood out for you at your time in that Crewe academy?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, Nick Powell.
I was just going to say, because we interviewed David Artell a while ago, and he was talking about Nick Powell as well.
I honestly have never seen somebody as good as him since being in football. Yeah, genuine. I played golf
with him next Saturday.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I played golf with him actually a few months back, and I hadn't seen him in years, so it was really good to see him and catch up. But yeah, he just had it all. But he was a year above me. But there's loads of players still in the game that were in and around, sort of my age group. So we had there was always good players coming through Crewe. But I think even when I was at Crewe, I was never in every age group. You get certain kids that you can tell the coaches, they love them, they sort of nurture them a little bit. I was sort of never really one of them. I was always sort of in the middle, really. So that's why I sort of had to work harder, really. And it wasn't until I started getting involved with the first team that I got taken out of centre mid and then pushed into more of an attacking role.
Did you? Oh, go on, Hannah. Sorry.
No. I was just going to say, does that kind of having to hustle a little bit, having to put a shift in, do you think that's kind of put you in good stead for the rest of your career, or is it something that you kind of resented at the time?
No, I never resented it. I mean, I think part of me, because I remember when I signed my first professional contract with Crewe, and it was literally the day I signed, or the day I got told that I was being given a professional contract. And to be honest with you, in my second year as a scholar, I'd been on the bench a few times for the first team, and I'd had a good season. And I was thinking, as soon as I was on the bench for the first team a few times, I thought, well, I'm 100% getting a pro. Yeah. So when my professional deal came, it wasn't. I don't want to sound big-headed, but it wasn't really a surprise. But then when I went into the office, Steve Davis was just sort of like, "Listen, the hard work starts now. I'm your biggest fan." Everybody else was basically saying, "Don't give him a pro." All the other coaching staff. That's what I got told. So it was a bit of like a, wow, didn't see that coming. Because I thought like a few of the coaches, really liked me, but yeah, I don't know what it was. Maybe I don't know. It was just.
It might have been a tactic.
It could have been, yeah. Yeah, but I don't know if it was or what, but yeah, I'll always remember that because I thought I felt after that point like I was constantly having to prove myself.
Is that a
But
good
yeah,
thing though?
it can be, yeah,
Right. Yeah, it could
it
have
can
been.
be a good thing, yeah.
So did they not? Did he not give you any feedback as to why they were saying that at all?
No, I think it was just a bit of probably a throwaway comment for him. It was just like, I'm
Yeah.
his biggest fan. Everybody else wanted to get like said, don't give him a pro. So, but I'm the manager. So obviously the manager's opinion is the most important because ultimately he picks the teams. But yeah, I always felt like I was doing well, and I couldn't really figure out why other people would want to get rid of me, basically. So yeah, it is what it is.
Humbled you though, didn't it? Think about that. From that,
Oh, absolutely.
imagine where you'd have gone, because it could have gone the opposite way. Like if you'd had that thing of like thinking that it was guaranteed, and then like no one had really given you any negatives to it, then you could have really gone the opposite way.
Yeah, 100%.
Which,
Yeah, I think there's a fine balance in there to everything. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, it could have easily happened.
yeah, it's well. So you're at Crew, and first season, you were injured pre-season. Did you take up quite a big knee injury in the first pre-season that you had that as a pro?
No.
Oh, this is lying to me here.
Well,
Oh,
do you
yeah.
know what? Before, when you said about Wikipedia, I was like, well,
Oh, we always
Wikipedia's
laugh at
always true.
we always laugh at this. We always laugh at this, but I go with it because then it creates funny moments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's mad. It's like David Artell wasn't part of the Jackson 5, but it was on Wikipedia, and we had to go with it. And I was like, I'm saying it. Do you know what, Hannah? Why don't we go with because now we know Wikipedia is basically throwing us under the bus a lot, which is fine. Why don't we go with what we read, and we'll make it a little bit fun before we go into the rest of his career, because I know that you're excited, Hannah.
Well, we could
I
do
am too.
Cheltenham, and then it comes in between Cheltenham and Northampton.
So
Okay.
you've got a specific. So you've given
Oh,
it away
yeah.
now.
I've got
You've given it
receipts
away
and
now.
everything.
Right, Hannah, get on with Cheltenham then.
Right. So left Crew in 2015, not having had a knee injury and having a year on the sidelines.
Right. Can we clarify this, right? No, I didn't say the year on the sidelines.
Yeah, but that's what it says in here pretty much.
Oh, does it say that? It says
Yeah.
Water suffered a knee injury during a pre-season friendly match, and despite recovering, spent the first half of the season. Yeah, he said you were out injured and you were playing reserve games because of your injury. So you didn't.
No, I was literally my first year was just trying to get on the bench as much as
How
possible and maybe make my debut. So it wasn't until the second year. Oh, I think did I make my debut in the first year? I think I might have done.
Supposedly on the 26th of November against Carlisle.
Carlisle, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so then I was just happy to be in and around it as much as possible. And then the second year is when I started. I think I started the first 13 games of the season.
Right. Well, the good thing about Wikipedia is I've just taken it out.
Oh, nice.
So you were no longer injured. So it's done now. No one's going to make that mistake again. We're doing God's work
feels
here.
better already. Thank you.
Yeah, it does. It feels great. It feels great.
Yeah.
And you're also not a member of the Jackson 5 either. I'll take that. Yeah. So yeah. Sorry. Continue, Hannah. Continue.
No, that's good. So June 2015, you go to Cheltenham just on a year, and are so incredible that they end up extending your contract, and you were there for until 2017. But again, according to Wikipedia, 83 appearances, 23 goals. That sound about right?
83 appearances, 23 goals.
That's in the league.
Would have been 23 league goals. That's correct. Yeah.
Because it's 96 and 27 overall.
Yeah. No, I loved it at Cheltenham because Crew had just released me. And to be honest with you, I'd been released out of League One. So I thought, listen, I was young. I was only 19, 20. And I thought that 100% I'd be getting a League Two club at least. So when my agent at the time rang me and said, Cheltenham want you, I thought, Cheltenham? And haven't they just been relegated into the conference, National League? And he was like, yeah. And I was thinking, absolutely not. I look back now and laugh at myself because it was unbelievable how I even got Cheltenham. And Gary Johnson was the manager, and he was brilliant. I mean, it was the first time living away from home, and the first time I met him, he said, "Look, I'll either make you or I'll break you." So, and I didn't mind that. Like he did,
Yeah.
turned me from a boy to a man, really. So, it was unbelievable 2 years. I loved it there.
And you chose to leave at the end of there, so you saw them get promoted back to the National League in your first year there, and then
League Two, promote back to League Two.
Oh yes, what did I say? I meant the Football
National League.
League as opposed to the National League.
Listen, professional, and this is going exactly as I thought it would. This is awesome. Come on, Hannah. We're on it.
A very long day.
Do you know the worst part, Billy? We've got a live show as well after this.
Yeah, you're going to struggle with that.
Yeah. This is going to be a so live show's just a mess anyway. It's good. So, yeah.
But you chose to move at that point. Was that, to go back into, were you looking for League One? Was it a change? What kind of prompted that move away from Cheltenham? Because you loved it there, but they loved you too in terms of the accolades and the awards that you won while you were there.
Yeah, no, I think it was never a club that I wanted to leave in terms of I loved it there. I loved the fans. I loved playing there. And I loved living there as well. I think that was the biggest part. Cheltenham in itself I just loved living there. But obviously I had the opportunity to go to League One, to Northampton on a 3-year deal. I mean, I just couldn't turn that down. And I'd met with Justin Edinburgh, and I loved him from the start. I just thought it'll be brilliant for me. So yeah, it was a nervous call to Gary Johnson to basically say I won't be signing.
Well, that's the first time you've had to do it, isn't it? That's the first time you've had to deliver the news.
Yeah, basically. Well, my agent just said, like, look, I'll ring him. But I had that much respect for him, and I felt like we had a good relationship. So I said, no, I'll speak to him. So I was actually on holiday, and he doesn't know this, but he told me to ring about 2:00 in the afternoon. And I was so nervous because he'd just been hounding me all, like, what's happening, Bill? What are you doing? What are you doing? So I went to the bar and just ordered a shot of tequila, necked it, and then rang him. And yeah, I thought I was going to get an earful from him, but he was just like, "Oh yeah, it's Northampton, isn't it? Yeah, brilliant. That's brilliant for you, Bill. Like, congratulations." So it was all good.
You worked hard to get them back to where they needed to be, didn't they? So you kind of done what they brought you in to do as well. Like they brought you in to be that guy. You did it, and you got your reward for it.
Yeah, 100%. I think in the first year, I played the majority of the games and scored 11 goals by Christmas. And then we signed a good mate of mine, Dan Holman from Woking, and he just came in and he was on fire. He was just dynamite. I think he scored 16 goals for us from January to the end of the season. So I just couldn't get a game, basically. And then in the second year, it was like, I honestly was going back into that pre-season thinking I'm not going to play it, and then I did, and then pretty much played every game. And I think after that I was like, I'm ready for a new challenge now. So that's when Northampton happened.
Wow.
And when Northampton happened, you reached the heady heights of BBC News for your initiation song.
Yeah, I did. It was because we were in Spain on a sort of pre-season trip, and we'd trained in the morning, and because we had so many new players, we sort of broke up the initiation. So it was maybe like 3 at one dinner and then 3 at the next. So mine was at lunchtime on this day. So we'd literally just had lunch, and then I had to get up. So I sang "Dancing in the Moonlight," and that was that.
Which
and then
classic, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great song. And I think we were training again at like 4:00. So what we usually do is eat and then go back up to your room, have a little bit of a nap, and then get ready for training again at 4:00. And I went for a nap, and then I woke up and my phone was just pinging off. Like Twitter was just going. I was thinking, what's gone off here? And I went on, and Northampton had obviously. I didn't realise that they'd recorded it, and then they put it online, and then it just blew up basically. So now every club I go to, I actually had it today.
Well, we were going to ask, do you still do it? It's still the same song? Or have you got a repertoire?
I've mixed it up a couple of times, but now it's like yeah, I'd probably just do that every time now. Because I actually hate doing it, because like you go to a new club and people go, oh, you can sing, can't you? And then I'm like, I don't mind a sing song. Like I don't want to be
Yeah,
like,
you,
oh yeah. So
you might want to get this deleted off your Wikipedia as well, because your personal life page just says, in addition to football, Waters is also a talented singer.
yeah, I wrote that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. So I actually hate doing them. I find them, I don't enjoy doing them, because lads are like, you must love doing them. I'm like, no, absolutely not.
No.
So yeah, but
and you've got a reputation now. It's not like that first one where you stand up and no one's expecting it. Like we had it with Godwin Malife at Swindon. He did a John Legend one, and again was amazing. But you don't. It's the surprise of the people around him as much as his voice.
It was your Susan Boyle moment, wasn't it? That's essentially what it is.
It was, yeah. And I like, even like Top Loader, the band, they followed me on Twitter and that, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
That's all you need. That's all you
I know.
need.
I know.
Oh. So I don't think, am I followed by anyone for anything that I've done that's good? I don't think so. I don't even think Bradford City follow me. In fact, I don't even think the Billy Bantam account follows me. This is a bit upsetting, really, isn't it? Well, the step up to League One comes. You end up at Northampton. I'm going to leave it in there about you being a talented singer. Look, if you did it yourself, it's fine. We know now. We know that you put it in there. It was just in Edinburgh that brought you in, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'm guessing because of your age, they still had to pay a fee.
Yeah, they had to pay some compensation. Yeah. Yeah. I don't actually know how much it was, but I can't imagine it would have been anything big.
It's to do with the number of years you've been there, and so I think if Crewe had offered you another deal and you'd rejected before you went to Cheltenham, I think they'd have had to pay quite a big chunk.
Yeah.
How do those work? Like when you're coming to the end of as a player, when you're coming to the end of a contract, at what stage do you start to feel a little bit uneasy? Because if certain clubs won't tell you till the end of the season, certain clubs might let you know a little bit earlier. But at what stage do you start to think, oh, I need to really kind of maybe assess my options here? And how does that work for you?
I'm not really sure. To be honest with you, I've never really been in a situation where, other than Crewe and Torquay, where I've been thinking about that. Because like Crewe, I knew I was getting released, but I knew I was young enough, so I was going to get a chance somewhere else. And then Cheltenham, even in my first year, I knew I'd be getting offered, another year at least. So it's always been like one of them where, I mean, well, we'll get to it, but like lockdown was the one where it was like, that's when I was just scrambling completely. Yeah.
I can imagine. No. Well, Northampton, you said Justin Edinburgh brought you in.
Yeah.
Is it 6 weeks?
6 games.
6 games. Yeah, I think after you joined, he ended up leaving, and then Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank comes in.
Yeah.
And from what I could tell, plays you out of position, does it a little bit of a different way. And again, was it a position that you'd ever really? Had you had much experience playing there, or was it something that he just kind of sprung on you, or was there a conversation? Did you feel that it was something you could do, or you wanted to do, or?
Yeah, because he literally just, when I did play for him, he just played me on the wing, and I've played on the wing, countless times in my career. I think the thing for me was, I loved Justin. He was just brilliant for me. So when he got the sack, I was like, oh my days, like I've committed 3 years, and he was a big part of me choosing Northampton. But then obviously it was like Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's coming in, so I thought, well, that's incredible. Like he was a striker, like he's going to be brilliant. And it just never really happened. I mean, the only thing I'll say about Jimmy is, like, I played a game. We played Rochdale away, and I hadn't played, so he came in. I don't think I played for the first 3 weeks, and then I started at Rochdale away, and after the, like, I think we ended up drawing it 3-3. But after the game, he was just wax lyrical about me. He was like in the press. Then he pulled me. he even said it in front of all the boys. So I was getting a bit of banter, like, wow, Gaffer's new son and this, that. And then I was like, yeah, gets to the Saturday and he pulls me at pre-match at lunch and says, look, I know I've been bigging you up all week, but I'm going to start you on the bench today. And I was just absolutely baffled. And then I didn't play for about 3 weeks. And then I played Oxford away. I had a good game. And then I got dropped again. So it was always one of them where I was like, I honestly look back and think there's nothing more I really could have done.
Yeah.
With the one-off games that I had, but he was good. Like I still liked him. I got on with him, but when it got to the January, I was just so ready to just get out on loan, basically.
Yeah. No, it's a. I find that so bizarre because we see it happening this season, and I actually asked Pete Wild when we interviewed Pete Wild because he's done that with Whitfield on a few occasions. He did it last season. He's done it this season. And it was like, for me, the two opportunities that Wits has had to come and play at Valley Parade, he's been benched for.
Yeah,
but he's actually played really well the week before. And it's like I couldn't wrap my head because, like, for me, I think if I'm a manager and I'm looking for that little bit extra, especially without being completely honest, you go to Valley Parade, 18,000 people. For a lot of players that have never or have always been around sort of this level, that's
massive.
It's huge, and it's got to be intimidating as well. I think for some, and some would freeze. Whereas I think if you're wanting that little bit of extra, he'd have it because it's like that's his hometown club. His family are sat in the stands watching, and like I asked him, I said, how do you do that? And he said, for him, he said he has two sets of players in his mind. He has players that can drag him through a game, and then he has winners who can come on and change it if it needs to be. He's doing. And he said Ben's essentially in that latter category. So he knew at Bradford it was a slog.
Yeah.
So he put his players out that he knew could essentially drag them through the pressure that they were going to be put under. The get used to the crowd. And then on both occasions, he's brought Wits off the bench. You've scored. Well, I say you because obviously you were there at the time, but you scored within minutes.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked, and I was like, So I was kind of trying to say to him, I think that's a silly thing that you've done there. You've dropped one of your best players, and then when he explained it, I was like, yeah, all right, fair play.
That's why you're a manager.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why you're a manager, and and I'm sat here
I'm a chicken.
doing I'm on the side as the chicken. But that's what it is, and it's like it is so. It's just like two completely different mindsets of how you would look at things. But like I remember just sort of asking that question, like I was being nice about it. I'm like, how can you do that? And then he answered, like, oh yeah, okay, Pete, that makes a bit of sense. Like he could literally rely on him to come off and like I think he thought it's like having a pit bull on a chain that's just dying to get off, and then like you're like wait, and then boom, it's gone. And yeah, like I say, last season and this season, he's come off the bench, and within minutes, the winning goal's gone in, and it's infuriating because I know what's coming every single time now.
And do you get that as a player when you've been sitting on the bench and you're watching the game kind of take place in front of you, but you can also see, like, it's sometimes easier as the spectator to have a more helicopter view. Is that common that you kind of you get on, you're like, right, I know what I need to do. Yes, I've got my instructions, but I can see where the gaps are going to be, and you just go for it? Or is it, I don't know, luck as much as anything else, fresh legs? And
I think there's some games where you're on the bench and you're watching it thinking, oh, get me on, like this is a great game to be involved in. But there's also those games where you're watching it and you're thinking, you obviously always want to go on, but there are some games where you're thinking this is a minging game to come on to, especially when it's like 70. If you come on at 75 minutes, it's the worst because you're just blowing. You don't catch your second wind. So it depends on the game, but there are some they're always the worst when you're watching a game thinking there's so many goals in this game, there's so much space, like get me out there. But
what's worse, coming on in like the 75th minute and like, well, there's three options here, like coming on in the 75th minute and like you're going to be blown, you don't get your second wind, coming on in like the 89th minute, and you know that essentially you've been brought on at that point to waste a bit of time to slow the game down, or getting sent to warm up in the 85th minute, knowing full well that you're not coming on.
Oh, I've had that plenty of times. Yeah, getting told to warm up when you're not going to come on, 100%.
But do you know you're not coming on? Like,
yeah, it depends. You get a vibe, like you know if the gaffer's looking to bring you on or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I have had it a few times where you've been chucked on at sort of 89, 90, and you're thinking why? Sometimes it's a little bit token, and you're thinking I'd rather just not come on at all if it's just a token one. But yeah, like coming on at 70, like the best time to come on at 60, because you know you're going to get a full whack at it. Even if you're coming on at 75 and you're blowing, even if you're winning the game 1-0 and you have been brought on to maybe do a bit of time waste and all that, you still want to play the game.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating, even when the ref and you're going, how long's added on? And he's going 3 minutes and you're wanting like 7 minutes of added time because it's an extra 4 minutes to play. So yeah, it just
depends. And how do appearance bonuses work in that? Because obviously I'm not suggesting you've got an appearance bonus, but like for those that do, if you come on as a sub, is that it done? You get your appearance bonus, or is it you have to play a certain amount of minutes for things like that?
I don't know. Like all my contracts really have never really had that in them. I think it's probably I don't know. I'm sure some lads in League Two and the lower leagues have had that, but I'm guessing it's more the higher you go. Yeah, I'd imagine.
But the thing about sort of when you sat there and you're looking at a game and you know that like if it's a bit of a crap game and you're like, oh, you can't really see making much of a difference coming on. We had it last week and it made me laugh, and it makes me laugh now looking back at it, because at the time I didn't understand what was happening, and I was at Bradford Derby and I was sat behind the bench, and we played our second string team. So we had our second keeper in goal, and obviously Harry Lewis, who was the first team keeper, sat on the bench, and our keeper went down injured right near the end of the game. And Alexander turns around and is like, Harry, get warmed up. And I've never seen like someone look so flustered. Like I didn't think I was coming on tonight. He had his tracksuit bottoms on and he just wasn't ready. But then the next day he left. So it kind of made sense that like he knew he was going. And I feel like he thought he'd done his
like checked out.
Yeah, or like he felt like he wasn't going to get that opportunity to say goodbye to the fans in a game, because he'd found out before the game that there's the Carlisle offer, and then it was getting to the end of the game, and I think then it was like I'm now like complete different frame of mind. How do you do it? Yeah, it just looking back, it makes me laugh, because I'm like, I saw the thing in his face and he sort of stood up, and as he stood up he sort of looked around as if to say, for real, like you want me to warm up? Like keeper's laid on the floor holding his leg up, and like, yeah, you need to warm up. So no, it makes me laugh.
With that kind of in mind, that saying goodbye to the fans. So when you were at Northampton, you were transfer listed with a huge chunk of the squad, it sounds like, but ended up staying and then going out on loan in the January. How does it? I mean, COVID aside, because that Newport loan was very COVID-y. How does it feel? Kind of, how does it affect you as a player knowing that you've been transfer listed and that they're not necessarily bought into your future there?
Well, this is quite fun. I was absolutely delighted I got transfer listed, because I'd been on loan to Cheltenham, and at the end of my loan, Michael Duff sort of pulled me in and said, like, but we want you back. So when you go for your end of season meeting at Northampton, just say, yeah, it was good. And basically don't say like, I loved it and I'll go back. So as soon as I sat down with Keith Curley, just said like, look, I'm going to put you on the transfer list. And I was like, okay. And in my head, I was like, get in, like absolutely buzzing. And he said like, look, it's nothing personal. It's just, you're not what I need at the moment. And that was absolutely fine. I just said, yeah, like fully understand. There's no bad blood. And so straight away I got out, rang my agent, and I said like, yeah, it's I'm transfer listed. So he was like, right, okay. So then he came back and said, right, Cheltenham, we sorted the deal, But my agent just said, like, look, don't go straight into Northampton. You know, just sort of play the game. And look, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but essentially Northampton just said, like, no, we want a fee for him, and no club was willing to do that. So I was trying to get out, and I think the worst part about it was I was going to the manager saying, just let me go, and he was saying, I'm happy for you to go, but like
The club won't.
the club won't.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I said, like, look, you're just gonna end up paying me to do nothing. And he was like, look, it's not me. But even with Keith Curl, like, the hardest bit about that is I was transfer listed, but they wouldn't let me go. But then on top of that, Keith Curl, like, I played no preseason games with the first team, nothing. And then the season started, so I just sort of knew where I stood. I just thought, right, I'm not playing. So the first 2 league games of the season, like, literally not in the squad, didn't even travel, all that. And then they had Swansea away on the Tuesday night in the Carabao Cup first round. So I sort of drove down Monday morning and said to my family, like, I'll see you later. And they were like, oh, well, you're not in tomorrow? And I was like, no, because they've got a game away. So there'll be no training tomorrow. They'll be traveling tomorrow. So I'll probably get Tuesday, Wednesday off. And then literally went down, and the gaffer named the team, and I was starting in the number 10. So I'd gone from being not even playing in pre-season games, nothing, like, not even on the radar, to starting in at Swansea away. So it was like, after that, I was like, it was just crazy. And I featured like a few times for him, to be fair, in that first bit. And then obviously, yeah, in the January, went on loan to Newport.
What's he like, Mysterious Curl?
You know what?
I love that name for him.
Yeah,
that chant's awesome. Yeah.
Listen, I actually didn't mind him. I think he was, he was quite a funny man, to be fair. I even saw him because when he was a Hartlepool manager. I saw him in the tunnel, and yeah, he was always funny. He'd always take the mick a little bit. But yeah, I scored that day, so I was quite happy about that. But
that little bit of an incentive.
A tiny bit, nothing major. It was like I said, I had nothing, no bad blood towards him. It was just football. I wasn't for him, and that was that.
We speaking like bad blood. We found out that's why Barrow, up from last season till this season, haven't lost against Bradford, because Pete Wild's a Man United fan. Sorry, he's an Oldham fan.
I was going to say, yeah,
he's an Oldham fan. And Mark Hughes obviously being at Man
Right.
United, scoring the goal. He basically told us. He told us the story. He said after the game last season, they were in Mark Hughes' office, and like, obviously the assistant temps was buzzing, because he is a United fan.
Yeah.
He's getting to meet Mark Hughes, and he said, Pete's not happy with you. And Mark was like, what's wrong? He was like, Pete, I'm an Oldham. Sorry, Mark, I'm an Oldham fan. You ruined my childhood. And then he said that Mark Hughes proceeded to sit and talk through the entire game and goal in great detail. He just said he had to sit there and listen to it. But he said that gave him an incentive. Like, when he's gone there as a manager, that was in the back of his mind. Like, 30 years ago, and it's still there.
Yeah. You can have that.
I agree about Keith Curl. I met him at, when he was Hartlepool manager. I went to Crawley last season, and they won 2-0. And I went down and spoke to him on the pitch afterwards, and he's a strange character, but in such a good way. You don't expect a manager to be. I mean, I'm guessing he'll be different when he loses, but cause I only got to see the winning side. But it was right after his interview, where, I don't know if you saw it, where he spoke about getting a hat trick.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
So this was like 3 days later, and I was stood there. I was like, "So did you get your hat trick, Keith?" And he just sort of looked, and he's like, "Gentleman never tells." I'm like, "I bet he doesn't." But he said he got in so much trouble, like, when he got home, because he said it obviously on an interview on the radio, things like that. It was amazing. Go on, Hannah.
Back to, so you did a year at Torquay after you left Newport, and then Halifax, where presumably you fell in love with Pete Wild and then followed him to Barrow.
Yeah,
I'd fallen in love with Pete Wild. So it's nothing to be ashamed about. I'm getting a Pete Wild tattoo at the end of this season if Barrow go up.
That's
Yeah,
actually
nice.
happening, Billy.
Oh, yeah. No, to be fair, like, yeah, Torquay was just a mad one. That was literally just Gary Johnson again, because I had nothing. I mean, I was out the game from March until October, and the only thing I had was Gary Johnson because I'd played with him before, and yeah, all the way down to Torquay, that was a bit of a nightmare. But at the end of that year, all I said was, I just want to be back up north now. I just want to live at home. That's all I want. Me and my girlfriend were buying a house, and Pete Wild got in contact, and I thought, oh, Halifax, like, that's, you know, not perfect, but it's a lot better than Torquay, in terms of location. And then as soon as I met Pete, I just thought, yeah, brilliant. Like, I just thought, yeah, class act, everything he was saying, and yeah, like, as soon as the season started, I mean, I got off to a good start, and that always helps as a striker. Like, when you're off to a good start, and just even that group, everything we did that year, just, yeah, I fell back in love with football, 100%. Because yeah, and to be honest, I think we just blew up. We you know, on our day, we were as good as any team in the league, I actually felt. And yeah, but I mean, even we played Chesterfield a few weeks before that semi-final, quarter-final of the playoff, and you know, we beaten them, and I was confident going into the game. But then, I mean, Kean Spence, I think, had to pull out in the warm-up, and like Kieran Green, like, he was struggling. He wasn't at 100%. So we had just so many players who just weren't 100%, and yeah, that was obviously our downfall. But yeah, as soon as the season finished, obviously, I think we all knew that Pete was going to leave. And obviously, I was out of contract as well, and he'd said to me, like, look, wherever I go, I'm going to look to take you with me. And I didn't know if that was just...
for you. I've got a story for you.
Okay.
Did you know that in the February of that season, he almost came to Bradford?
I do know that.
Halifax season.
I do know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he told me, and I've never been more devastated in my life to be stood there watched as he's got his Barrow tracksuit top, and I'm like,
what could have been?
What could have been indeed. But just before we move on to Barrow from the end of that season, but like, I'm born and raised Halifax, so like, I live between Bradford and Halifax.
Oh, right.
So like, I know what that season meant to Halifax. Like, it didn't just, like you said, you fell in love with football again. It kind of did something to the town as well. The impact that it had on the town was unbelievable, and it was like everybody was pulling I spoke to people, obviously, even being a Bradford fan, like, I've got friends that are Halifax fans, and speaking to them about like how the team were doing, and I'd watch games when I could, and you know, I'd get to games if I could, and things like that. They were just so. It was like, it was weird to see Halifax feel invincible.
Yeah,
they kind of felt like that over that season, and it was like, what's going on? And then we started watching Pete Wild, and to be fair, like, all season we were going, someone's gonna come in for Pete Wild, someone's gonna come in. Turns out it was my club, and we dropped the ball.
And he had that 3-year plan as well, didn't he? He was quite vocal about, like, I achieved what I wanted to achieve, and then I go to Barrow and I start a new plan.
Yeah, I think it was probably the right time for him to move on, because I mean, I think he did everything that he could have done. I mean, the best thing I don't like, but my personal opinion about Pete Wild, is one of his greatest traits is just his recruitment, with the budgets that he has. So even that year that we did well with Halifax, I mean, we had such a different sort of like culmination that came together. It was, you know, like players like myself who'd played higher but then had to like drop down, and you know, were out of favour with the game a little bit, and then you had lads who coming up and first starting their career. So it was just, we just had a bit of everything. I think what we had in that team was just hunger. Everybody was just wanting to achieve something, whether it be, you know, listen, the goal was promotion, but then other lads wanted to prove themselves and get a move into the league. So everybody was, you know, wanting to achieve something that season. And to be honest with you, like usually when we lose, if I lose a football match, I'm obviously gutted, but then I get home and I like to switch off. I like out of sight, out of mind. When we lost that against Chesterfield in the playoffs, that was a tough one to take. So but never mind, it was still a great year.
It was, but I think that for me kind of shows the impact that Pete Wild had, like you said, about his recruitment and things like that, and working on smaller budgets, because Halifax haven't pushed on from that. And like, I can't remember who it was that, in fact, it was Nathan Rooney. He said, always, he put a tweet out last week saying, always leave a club in a better position than when you came in. That's a manager's job.
Yeah.
And Pete did that, but no one's been able to sort of take it and kind of run with it.
Because he took all the players with him.
Yeah, to be fair.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Millie's done a really good job in terms of, because obviously I've still got a few mates at Halifax, and I loved it, so I'll always take an interest in it. And Millie got off to a tough start, to be fair, but it's that transitional stage of losing so many players that you had. So I think they're always in and around it, and who knows? I'd love to see him go on a run to the end of the season.
I'd love to have them back.
Yeah,
it'd be incredible to get them back in this league.
Because it's a really nice stadium as well. Like I love playing there.
It took them like 20 years to finish that one stand. I still don't think it's finished. Did you know the one that they were building, the new one?
Right.
I'm pretty sure that they started building that in about 2001, maybe even a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And it just slowly but surely, like every year they spent that 20-30 grand on it and just did a little bit more. And then by the time they'd finished it, the other end looked crap. So they back around now. It's like but yeah, no, it's I love the share. I always want Halifax to do well in the cups, because I want them to get to the the first round of the FA Cup. Like, I want to see them. I want us to get to that point where we can play them, and like we've drawn them a couple of times, and when we've played them there, it's a good atmosphere. And like a lot of Bradford fans don't remember, especially like the newer generation, don't remember when Halifax were in the league, but the older ones do. And the rivalry was horrible.
Back
in the day.
You don't realise how close they actually are.
Well, exactly. And this is the thing, and it's like, so my missus is from a place in Bradford, but she grew up literally a 5-minute drive from the Shea.
Right.
25 minutes from Valley Parade.
Yeah.
But she's from Bradford, and like it's that close.
Yeah.
It's like Walsall and Birmingham.
Yeah.
Don't do that again.
Walsall and Birmingham, they're practically one. So I had to do it. Right. So the end of that season comes, and Pete goes to Barrow. How easy was it for you? Obviously, it's a step up, so I'm guessing that ticks that's a big box for you. But how easy was it for you to just go, I'm going with Pete to Barrow? That's where I'm going to go.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. Yeah. Interestingly enough, sorry, I really struggled there. I was pretty much sorted. I was going to be going with Pete to Barrow, and then my agent rang me and said, like, Wrexham want to chat to you. So I'd spoken to the gaffer, Phil Parkinson, on the phone, and I think I'd gone from having that love back for football, and I didn't want to lose that again. And obviously, joining Wrexham, I knew my game playing time was probably going to be limited. So I stuck with going to Barrow, and it was pretty much it was just good to be with a manager that I knew, I trusted, and knew that I was more enough, pretty much, hopefully going to be playing. So it was, and especially with them training in Manchester, it meant that it was only an hour up the road to training, and even Barrow from like door to door from my home wasn't as bad as people thought. It was only 2 hours 20, because it's simple enough straight up the M6, isn't it? So
I actually quite liked Barrow's the training pictures at Barrow. So I said we were there the other week. Well, I said the other week, about 2 months now. We did the crossbar challenge with the Barrow squad.
Right, yeah, that's not where we trained last year, let me tell you.
Well, yeah, I've heard. I've
Cool.
heard. I believe that around the Manchester area, there's been some fighting between clubs to get training facilities because Barrow weren't the only one that have had some rough training facilities. But where they are now is, I mean, yes,
Nice
it's
setup.
4G pitch. It is a nice setup,
Mm.
and it's like, do you know the one thing I sort of picked up on, and this is like you mentioned about like the players that Pete brings in and things like that when you were at Halifax, but I don't know what it was like at Barrow last season, but this season I've been to a lot of training sessions for different clubs. I've never been to any training session of a club like that. Like the atmosphere is just like everybody seems to be so sort of in tune, and that's why it's like when people say to me they can't believe that Barrow are in the position that they are in the league, and I'm looking going, I can, because absolutely, like everything in that club is pulling together. I genuinely like it's good to see, and I think anybody that knows or has spoken to people at Barrow, no, they're not shocked. A lot of people that don't really pay much attention are shocked because it's Barrow. You know, before Pete came in, they finished, I think, 21st in the league. They were almost relegated. I think, was it Phil Brown? It was Phil Brown, wasn't it? That took him in.
Well, that was the thing. That's why when I was looking to sign for him, I just said, listen, Gaffer, like, you know, I want to stay with you, but if I'm committing to 2 years, like, I've had it before, like, talking like Justin Edinburgh, for example, like, I've had it before where I've committed to a club and then the Gaffer gets the sack after 5 games. And he just said, look, like, my job's safe. Like, obviously, with the position that we were in, the club was in last year, you know, the owners have basically said to me, just do better than that. And I know that you're going to build something here. So even in that pre-season, I mean, I was listening to you do the podcast with Wits, and that Stockport game was crazy because I mean
is that the one where he scored? Is that one? I think we might have mentioned where he scored once.
Oh yeah, once or twice. Yeah.
Look at Hannah there. She loved it because you know he was a Stockport player 9 days earlier, I believe it was, Hannah.
But that
and my
was
daughter
crazy.
was a mascot, and we told her that she'd jinx the season and all sorts. But yeah, it was a great game. I remember it fondly.
It was an incredible, but like we all went to Stockport that day thinking, like, this is going to be a tough first game. Obviously with the return to the Football League and all that, because there were loads of cameras and all that, weren't there? And the Gaffer had literally got the like betting odds table, and he said, look at that, their favourites to go up and your favourites to go down. He said, so it's arguably the best team in the league playing the worst team in the league based on, you know, stats and all that. And he said, so just go out there and just play your game. And we were 3-0 up after 30 minutes. And I think even like Josh Gordon scored, that was like, don't get me wrong, great goal. And it was like, can't believe we won up here. And then Wits goes through, scores, and it was like, oh my days, we're 2-0 up. And then I scored, and it was like 3-0. And I looked at the clock, and it was like 31 minutes or something like that. And I thought, this is crazy. We're 3-0 up at Stockport. I mean, it was just a. But I think after that, it just gave us the confidence to go, listen, we're a good team. So, and obviously they've kicked on again this season.
Did he put the odds up a week later when Bradford came to Barrow?
Yeah.
Again,
Did it every single game. Yeah, had it like every single time we did analysis before the game. That was like the last slide, and he said like, I'm going to keep getting it up because I don't want you to forget. And so
Crawley have done something similar this season
with us.
Because we
did it. Me and Hannah didn't do this. I don't do league predictions.
Had suggested that Crawley might be favourites to go down, and so he was putting them up every week, like in the changing room.
Yeah,
and he did a press conference. Did Scott Lindsay about he mentioned us by name in his press conference that we had predicted them to go down, and then we're like, "Well, you're welcome. You know, we've spurred you on this season."
They were like,
motivation.
I think.
It's weird. It's mad how that can just be such a psychological advantage to just switch it on. So did you, I mean, being brutally honest, I know you said like you went to Stockport and it's like, oh, these are favourites to go up, and it's like, how's this game going to go? Did you as a squad have any idea that you could have the start that you had last season? Because the start of last season was just like no one saw it coming.
No, to be honest with you, I don't think we did it, like, because obviously we were a team that, you know, we knew what we were and we knew the players that we had, and we had good players, don't get me wrong, but obviously you're looking at a lot of other teams in the league, their budgets, etc. But after we, beat Bradford, beat Stockport, it was a big plus for us. And I think after that we just struggled. I mean, we had a great start, and then it was Stevenage on a Friday, and we lost 5-0 against them. And then I think we had a really poor December going into January. And that's when we really dropped off it, and then we sort of kicked on again and then dropped off. So it was a bit of a, I don't think we ever really fully kicked on after the start that we had.
What, when you're having the sort of season that you're having at Barrow, and obviously everything just seems to kind of be going right. I know you have every team has a blip, every team has that sort of point in the season where things don't go too well. Stockport always have it in the first 10 games of the season. It's bizarre. First 10 games of the season, Stockport, you can pretty much,
then around Christmas, January normally.
Yeah. Yeah. They always have these the same times every season. But when you end up in a position where a club like Wrexham comes in, and obviously we all know what's happening at Wrexham, and it's like, I said the other day.
Sorry. Emmy winning documentary. Welcome to Wrexham.
Not to be associated with the other Wrexham team that has been trying to get money off the tape brothers and then refunding them.
United of Wrexham.
FC United of Wrexham. It's not them. We've got to make sure people know that, because people didn't know that. So when a team like Wrexham comes in, even though you're having that season at Barrow, how hard is it to kind of go, I'm not interested? Like that's essentially it, even though we know Wrexham are coming up, but it is a step back to then leap forward. Like, how hard is it to sort of ignore that? Like for you, was it just a case of like, I can't really, I've got to make this step. This is too big an opportunity to miss.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I didn't have a lot of time to think about it. It happened so fast. I think my agent rang me on a Thursday and just said, like, look, Wrexham have been on to me with a bit of interest. So I just said, I was a bit confused. I said, what, for summer? And he went, no, for now. And I said, what do you mean for now? And he was like, look, that's basically what they've said. And then I honestly, genuinely, didn't think much of it. We had a game Saturday, day off Sunday, went in Monday. And then I think I might have messaged my agent and just said, did anything end up happening with that? And then he rang me Tuesday night at about 6 o'clock in the evening and just said, listen, Wrexham have come in, do you want to do it? And I just went into freeze mode. I was like, what? What do you mean? Because I'd literally just left training with Barrow that day, happy to then Wrexham have come in for you. So I just said, look, it depends on Barrow. If Barrow willing to let me go, and it was a bit of back and forth, and Barrow just were willing to let me go, basically, which I didn't think that they would. So as soon as I sort of heard they're willing to let you go, I just said, all right, let's get it sorted then. Because I mean, I think looking at it, the Wrexham, everything that comes with it, the fact it was on my doorstep, it just ticks so many boxes, really. And yeah, I just thought, I can't. It was literally one of them where I thought, I can't turn this down. On a 2.5-year deal as well. So yeah, it was literally just happened like that. And then by Wednesday, sort of 5 o'clock, I was signed, and I was gone.
And that everything that goes with a move to Wrexham, was that a positive or an area of concern? Yeah.
No, it was a positive, because even, I mean, I played with Ben Tozer at Cheltenham, and he rang me and he just said, mate, you've got to come. He was like, the things that are happening at this club, you've just got to experience it. It's class. So you know, that convinced me a lot as well. And yeah, like looking back, it was. I know that some football fans may look at it and go like, "What a terrible decision!" You know, you didn't even play there. Listen, I understand all of that. But in terms of like the experience of it all, and it's you know, it's definitely worth it, and it's such a fantastic club, you know, right from the top to the bottom.
Did you get to go to Vegas?
Yeah,
Totally worth it.
that's what I mean. So it's like it was like things like that, because obviously I hadn't featured. You know, the boys were on fire, and there's obviously only 5 on the bench in the National League. And the gaffer, credit to him, brought me on against Torquay just to, you know, say, you know, because I went in with a good attitude and trying to be as positive as I could around the place. And I think when the boys got promotion, it was like I felt like I hadn't achieved the promotion, so it was like tough for me to, you know, I mean, even in the celebrations, like I didn't want to be front. I was sort of in the back, and you know, sort of like clapping them. And a lot of them were going, "Well, you do get yourself involved." And I was like, "No, you know, I'm not. What did I do?" But they were like, "You're part of the team," and there's such a good group of lads there. Like, and everybody said that, and I went in, and straight away it was. So yeah, to go from that to then, yeah, you go in Vegas. It was like, yeah, this is class.
Bit different.
Yeah.
So when you get there and you're doing your press, who's with you? Who's also coming in?
Oh, right, yeah. So so I signed on the Wednesday, and then Thursday I walk into the dressing room. So I'm meeting a few of the lads, and then next minute somebody just comes bawling in and goes, "Oi, signing Ben Foster." So the boys are like, "Nah, no, we're not. No, we're not." So the cameras are in there and all that. So yeah, my limelight was definitely taken away from me that day by a certain Ben Foster.
It's all right, because Ben Foster's limelight was taken away by Jake Young, so and I'll never let that go. I'm so like, it was so good. No, I don't want to say it's good because but obviously he'd retired before he'd come out and he'd done his job. Let's be brutally honest, he'd done his job. His job was
brilliant.
His job was to be that keeper that could get you guys promoted.
Well, even
that,
you look back at it and it's like, you know, you sign certain players for certain moments, and you know that penalty save against Notts County was arguably, you know, could have saved that took us up. So yeah, it was it was a great signing. Yeah. And I think, in fairness to him, you know, he was a brilliant guy. I mean, I roomed with him in Vegas, and he was brilliant. Like such a lovely guy.
Can you imagine he don't shut up?
No, he's dead chilled.
Is it? I see. I've got the impression that he's 100 miles. I've got I've got no room at all because I am.
Yeah.
But I'd book my own room and just be on my own. Me. I can just imagine that he's like 100 mile an hour and just very, like, yeah, a bit like a Yorkshire Terrier, like just constantly wanting to go and look at stuff and like, oh,
well, maybe that's like a media persona for his podcast and all that stuff, and then, you know.
Yeah, I did find it a bit mad, like when because he had his GoPro showing like the pre-match food and stuff like that. And I mean, I think if any other player comes in and starts doing that, they're getting bantered for it. But everybody was just like, it's just fun.
Leave him to it.
What he does,
Leave him to it.
Yeah. So he was dead chilled guy. I mean, like, this is how chilled he was. The first game that he played, I was like, excited for the game, like, good to be back. And he was like, yeah, but it's been that long, I've not got any shin pads. And obviously I was in the dressing room, and because I joined so quickly from Barrow, all my shin pads and all that and my boots were still at Barrow. So I was on a spare pair of boots that I had, but I had no shin pads. So I had to drive to Crewe Retail Park on the Friday, buy some shin pads just in case. And then, so I've got my new shin pads. I wasn't in the squad. So as soon as Foz said that, I went, do you want to borrow mine? And he went, oh, that'd be class, mate. Cheers. So I've given him pads, and then we won. So then I was like, can't ask Ben Foster for my shin pads back. I had to go back to the retail park on the Monday, buy the exact same pair of shin pads.
Did you ever get them back?
No, I think he wore them for the rest of the season.
You were lucky then.
Get them
Yeah.
back. Get them on eBay. Get them signed.
Yeah.
Get them on eBay.
To be fair, I think I asked him. I think he said he's lost them, so I was just like, yeah, fair.
Oh.
Hey, no worries, mate. No problem.
So from Ben Foster and Wrexham to Donny, change of scenery again, but presumably you'll be looking towards regular football.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, so like I was saying before, the main focus for me when I did sign for Wrexham was just, you know, I was going to be at home with my girlfriend, because obviously with the clubs I played for in the past, I've just been all over.
Yeah.
So it was mainly about just being happy inside and outside of football, and just finding that balance. So even when January came, I thought, I'm not moving away again. I'm not doing that. I say to you, obviously sat in a hotel room now, but that was the thing. As soon as my agent rang and said Doncaster are wanting you, I just thought, yeah, Donny's a brilliant club, a big club, and yeah, I wanted to do it.
Bigger than Walsall, would you say?
Oh no! Don't put him on the spot. Do not put him on that spot.
But yeah, as soon as I just had that hunger to go out and play, because obviously not making the squad for Wrexham, it's been, you know, it's been bittersweet. It's been nice to have some weekends off, which I've never really had, and you never had that in football, really. So that's been quite nice. And then I didn't know how I'd feel when I got to January, whether I'd be desperate to get out or what. But as I said, like Wrexham, it's such a good club to be at. You know, I was going in every day. I was still training, and I was enjoying training. So I was just trying to keep myself sharp. And I thought, listen, if the right club comes up, then I'll go for it. And as soon as I heard Doncaster, I thought, yeah, that's the right club, and I'm going for it.
What do you want out of the next 4 months?
Well, the biggest one is to play football and start scoring goals. And also
not Saturday, please.
or next Saturday, that would be great. If you just like take a little while to find your feet, that'd be excellent.
Yeah. Leave your boots at Wrexham.
Yeah, to play well, to score goals, and to, you know, just to be part of something, and hopefully, you know, shoot up the league. I think that's probably the biggest one for me, is because I've come in and already it's such a good group, and you know, I really like the gaffer and the assistant. The staff seem really good from top to bottom. So, you know, I think we owe it to the fans really to start climbing the league.
How does he sell the club to you when they're in the position that they're in? Is it, you know, because it's not gone the way that we predict. Well, I don't generally do league predictions, but
yeah,
I expected Donny to be pushing top 3 this season, and things just haven't happened. But yeah, that conversation, he's got a hard sell there.
Yeah, I think to be fair, it wasn't really a hard sell for me, because I'd heard of the gaffer before. I've had players who've played under him, and they've always spoken really highly of him. So that was a big one. Because also with a loan, you know, I didn't want. Sometimes it's better the devil you know, and I thought, even if I'm not playing at Wrexham, at least I'm happy. And I don't want to be going on loan to a club, you know, living away from home, let's say, and be miserable there and not enjoying it. So as soon as I looked at the club, I looked at the gaffer. To be fair, I know a few of the lads here. Like one of my best mates, Jack Senior's at the club, so that helped. And I spoke to him, and he said, "You'll love it here." So I sort of did my homework on it, and also like looking at that table. Like I thought, well, Donny aren't, like you said, they shouldn't be there in the league. And I just thought, well, like part of the motivation to go there was to have that impact and try and be part of something that fires them back up the league and get them to where they should be.
Just again to repeat, not on Saturday. in a completely unrelated, and in no way threatening way. Have you ever been 2-footed by a chicken? Because there's an angry chicken that hangs around Bradford, and if you score on Saturday, I can't make any. To be fair, there'll be Donny fans trying to fight that chicken regardless. So yeah, don't worry about that. No, do you know what? It's like I say a wit. It's um, and we find it doing this. Like we support our clubs. There's rivalry on a match day between 3 and 5. Like that's it. Like that's it. It's my club. But like when it's over, it's just like when we get back to this, and people think that everything that we do is kind of based on what our feelings are towards our clubs, and it really isn't. Like I don't give my club much of a thought when I'm doing things like this because I just think you'd be so one track minded and like wouldn't enjoy interviewing players from other clubs in the league that you think are going to come in and do well. Like it'd be I'd be pissed off, if I'm honest. So yeah, I mean that easy sell then for you, easy sell for McCann then to bring you in. What's it been like? How have you settled in? Have you settled in quite easily? And obviously you're in a hotel. At the minute. No, Ben Foster's not laid in the bed behind.
No, he left. I told him to get out because obviously I was on the podcast. So.
Yeah, get down, get some shin pads. You
yeah,
me.
Yeah, he's just popped down to the retail party. Should be back soon. No, I've settled in already. So first day I went in and just got a good vibe straight away. All the lads here seemed class, and even like to be honest, I don't think I've ever been to Doncaster's ground and won. I've always been beaten there, so I've not had great, as a nice a stadium as it is, I've never had great memories there. So to actually walk out in a Doncaster shirt and play Saturday was a great feeling, and yeah, it just felt so good to be back out on a pitch and playing. Yeah, I've only been here a week, but yeah, I'm loving it already.
Do you feel like you're already up to speed? Do you or does it take time to find your feet because it's different, I suppose, joining a club in pre-season when you've got that time. When you're in and it's the middle of the season, it's like you don't really have much chance to think. Like, how do those two scenarios pan out? Like, how do you prepare differently for them?
Yeah, I think because I've had a few loans in January in the past, obviously you gain more experience from each loan, and I think the biggest one is in terms of football being up to speed, that comes the more games you play, and yeah, everybody knows that. But then in terms of the biggest one is like you said, it's settling into a club, getting on with the lads, and because it takes a bit of time to fully come out your shell, if you will, because you can't just go into a club and just start peeing all lively, because lads are just going to think, who's he? Do you know what I mean? So
in January as well, you don't have a pre-season. There's they've looked like Fal's gone to Warsaw. There's other movement, and there will be other movement. I guess that kind of requirement to get up to speed's a lot quicker. You don't have that kind of bedding in as well.
No, exactly, yeah. But sometimes it's quite nice. Like it sounds a bit crazy, but sometimes it's quite nice to be out your comfort zone and and do that. Because like I said, even when I was saying with a loan, it's got to be the right loan for me. I probably needed it for myself just to get out there and experience something different, and even something as small as staying up here a couple of nights a week is like it's different to what I've been doing for the past 2 years. It almost feels like when I was younger doing it again. So yeah, it's definitely a positive.
I'm excited for you.
No, thank you.
Can I just like when you've not played for like a consistent amount of time, and then you come back in and you're sort of thrown in at the deep end, like you've got to get in, get going. Do you feel like a little bit fragile in like your physical self because you've not had that sort of actual match experience as much? Do you feel like, Christ, I don't know what's going to happen if I get clattered here? Am I as fit as I feel like I am, or?
Yeah, I don't think about the clattering. You definitely think about the fitness. I think for me, because I've always been quite an instinctive player, obviously you gain more instinct the more you play football. And even in training, which I've been doing since I've at Wrexham, it's like training is completely different to playing an 11v11. So Saturday, in fairness, I was like, a few doubts, like, am I ready for this? Like, am I going to be up to speed? But I actually felt a lot sharper than I thought I would. And I think the biggest part of it was I was just enjoying it, just being back out there. So it was like, and then as soon as you get into that mindset, it's you just
comes
you
back.
just play the game. You just play the game.
Muscle memory.
Yeah. But yeah, the fitness side of it. I mean, you can be the fittest person in the world doing running, but nothing prepares you for an actual game of football. So that's the only way to gain, your full match fitness back.
Yeah. Well, I wish you luck at Doncaster as of 5 p.m. this Saturday. The luck starts there.
We can't delay our good wishes.
I can and I will, Hannah. I can and I will. I will message him at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Say good luck for the rest of the season. Yeah.
If I have a shit away day at Doncaster next week, I'll be like, no, I don't know.
Yeah. There'll be tears for most likely for me. It always seems to be the case. It never goes my way. So yeah, you'll probably get crying emojis at 5 p.m. on Saturday. But you're getting something anyway. Well, look, honestly, thank you so much for doing this. It's been great, and
not a problem. Thank you for having me.
It sort of came about so fast because like I sent the message off to your agent, and he came back quite quick, and I was like, oh, I'll just drop him a follow, and then it was like it happened, which is awesome because it especially in the transfer window as well. It's hard for people who are adjusting and moves and things like that. So yeah, no, thank you so much. And
no, it's absolutely fine. Thank you for having me.
Do this again. We'll do this again at some stage. When Donny have climbed up the table, hopefully not above us, hopefully above Stockport. That would be a real one, wouldn't it?
I might opt out of that one.
Yeah. Hannah won't show up for that one. No, she really won't show up for that one. There's another one. I can't remember what it was we were talking about the other day that Hannah's also said that she won't show up for.
Oh no, it was the Romeo Hutton one.
Yeah, talking about trying to get Romeo Hutton on after what's happened this week, and Hannah's not wanting to really be on that one. But it'll be fun anyway.
He's just gone to Gillingham, hasn't
he? Yeah.
So, so I mean, I'll wrap up and then I'll tell you what's happened, and it's amazing. Right. So, guys, honestly, thank you very much for everyone who's tuned in and watched. Donny fans, I hope you're excited. You're going to get to see him this Saturday against Bradford and next Saturday against Stockport, which I don't know why I hate it. It mirrors it because I look that way for Hannah. She's that way. But guys, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see you next time.